The following podcast is an enticing media production.
Where the Nell have you been? Join us for conversation about life, business, and everything in between. Welcome to What the Nell, where we've got stories to tell. Here's your host, Nell Tice.
Hello, you guys. Welcome back to another brand new episode of the What the Nell podcast with yours truly, Nell Tice. Happy New Year, everybody. This is my first solo episode of the brand new year of 2025. If you tuned in to the new episode last week, you know it was an Ecopreneur's Edge edition. And I'm happy to be back in 2025, refreshed and ready to go. I've got some really exciting plans for What the Nell coming up this year. So just a couple of reminders before I dive into today's topic. Speaking of plans for What the Nell, there is a feedback form that I would absolutely love for you to take just a couple of moments and fill out. You can find that link in the show notes below or the description if you're watching on YouTube. And it's just a short form asking for your feedback. What do you want to see for the future? What are your favorite things you've heard so far? How are you liking it? And yeah, it's just a few short questions, and your feedback helps greatly so that I know the direction that I should be heading in, and I can make sure that we're all here and all enjoying the content that I am bringing to you. So there's that. I thank you for that in advance. And coming up actually this weekend, if you are listening to this podcast the day it comes out, which is Tuesday, January 14th, then you know that I am actually speaking at a podcast event this weekend, in Mamaroneck, New York. And it is going to be awesome. I'm going to connect with so many podcasters, and I'm really excited to do that. I am specifically speaking on high quality audio and video and why it's important for your podcast. So there's going to be lots of other people speaking about different aspects of podcasting. So make sure that you come if you are in the area. It's from noon to 3 p.m. and it's free to attend. So all you need to do is register. You can also find that link in the show notes as well. So come on out if you are in the New York City area and see me speak and other speakers on the importance of certain topics in podcasting. So it's for someone that has a podcast currently or is looking to start one, or is looking for some motivation or how to get started or where to go from here, that type of thing. It's for all podcasters alike. So make sure you register at the link in the show notes. So that all being said, I know we're basically 2 weeks into the new year already, but I just wanted to go over 5 things that I am actually doing to level up in 2025. And, you know, I get really sick of the whole like new year, new me type thing and resolutions and whatnot, because it takes 21 days to build new habits. And most of us give up before 21 days. And I'm just generalizing. I know that's not everyone, but I feel really strongly about implementing new things and new ways to level up, about very slowly and consistently. Because if you try to do too much too fast, then that's not good either. So it's not sustainable. And we want sustainable goals and small steps and actionable takeaways from these pieces of advice, this episode, to help you go forward in 2025 and maybe make some better decisions for you. So these are just what I'm doing. I'm in no way saying that everyone should do these, but, you know, just maybe take some of this and think about how you could implement some steps like these or these steps in your own life. So it's just a motivational piece. And I am going to start with number 1. I really think a lot of us can benefit from this. Number 1 is my goal in 2025 is to not look at my phone an hour before I go to sleep and an hour after I wake up in the morning. This is going to be really tough because I do find looking at reels and posts and things like that fun and a way of relaxing almost at the end of the day, or a good way to start my day, because I like to watch a lot of motivational content too in the morning, and it gets me kind of like hyped up for the day. However, social media is not always able to be controlled, even though the algorithm starts to pick up on what we like to see. It's not always going to show you everything that you want to see, and it's going to throw some tidbits in there that maybe you don't want to see or that you shouldn't be seeing, and that we have no control over. The only way that we have control over the content that we consume is if we choose to look at it or not. So I am choosing to take an hour before and after sleeping to not consume any content other than maybe reading a book or journaling or watching a movie with my husband or something that is fulfilling to me in other ways. And I'll tell you what the catalyst was for this decision. I've had like one or two episodes of vertigo in the past, and I actually started ear candling to combat this because I had always had sinus issues and I always had like jaw pain on my left side that I woke up with in the morning. And I started doing this because I just was listening to my body, which is foreshadowing for a future tip that I'm doing in 2025. But I started ear candling, and that started to really help with the symptoms I was having, like the jaw pain and sinus pressure. And I think it also helped with vertigo. So if you don't know what vertigo is, it's basically where you're like dizzy, even though you're standing still, and it's in your head, and it can make you nauseous. It can also, if you're driving, it's really unsafe. But you just basically feel like you can't see straight, and it's very scary. And I've had it a couple of times. I don't want to have it anymore. But recently, I did just feel an episode coming on, and I recognized right in that instance that I was holding my phone. I had just woken up, was holding my phone, watching a reel that was super fast moving, and my eyes hadn't even adjusted to the light yet. And I started to feel dizzy, and it was really close to my face. My instinct was, oh my gosh, get the phone away from your face. And I did that. And I focused on a point across the room. This is a meditation technique. So if you're super into meditation, you probably already know this. However, I picked something across the room to focus on and started to breathe. And I was able to finally come out of that, but I felt it happening. And I thought, oh my gosh, looking at this phone, the way that I'm doing it is bringing on this vertigo episode. I don't want to experience that anymore. It sucks. So that's when I decided, you know what? I need to give myself time in the morning and at night to adjust to the day. Morning routines are super important. Whether you get up and you go meditate or do yoga or journal or make coffee or read a book, you need to have some sort of time and adjustment into the day ahead. And that's just going to set the tone, and you'll be able to accomplish more and focus and be kinder. And I can't really see no benefits coming from something like this. So my goal is to not go the whole hour right away, work up to it. So 15-minute increments each day until I get to an hour. And that sounds really difficult. And if you have a mild phone addiction, like a lot of people do, especially this day and age, then that's going to be really hard. But I promise you, it'll get easier once you start forming that habit. So it's also probably going to help you sleep better. Your eyes aren't going to be like just like like you were staring into a bright light before you try to go to sleep. It messes with your brain. So it's going to be helpful, I think, overall. So I'm excited about that. Number 2 thing that I'm doing is I am going to start putting more trust in myself. And I call it intuition, call it what you want, but I think as a society, we have started putting way more trust in other people than we have in ourselves. And constantly, whenever there's something that we think needs to be fixed, we go to an expert or a guru or a coach or somebody that has, quote, expertise, unquote, in whatever it is that we're looking for. And I think too often we ignore how we're feeling about what it is that we're experiencing, and listening to your body and letting it tell you what it needs is really powerful. And I think that, it's nobody's fault. We're just groomed that way. We're groomed to say, oh, my arm hurts. It's been hurting. I need to go to the doctor. And we go to the doctor. We get x-rays and nothing's wrong. So we get pain pills. And that's how we act in our society. And to me, that sucks too. I think that we need to be listening more often to what our body needs. And I intend to do that more so. I have done a really good job with that in the past. I'm usually not someone that does run to the doctor to get a prescription the second that, 3 days into a cold or anything like that. I'm not judging, but I think it's a really powerful thing to allow our bodies time to heal before we give it the medicines and the things that maybe, I don't know, we could look at as a last resort if we need to. And if whatever you're experiencing is causing you so much discomfort and pain that you can't live a good quality life, then that's when our body says, all right, I've done all I can do. Now we need that outside help. So I think it's really important to listen to our own bodies and be able to develop that relationship with ourselves and trust that our bodies know what it needs. And I think one thing that I have done a really good job of in the past is, I did work with a business coach when I first started enTICEingmedia, and there are all kinds of different coaches and gurus out there and things like that. And some of them, I think, call themselves an expert after they've done it one time with one client, and the rest is history. And when you're putting your trust into someone that maybe isn't entirely qualified to help you, that can send you down a path. And so I think listening to ourselves is probably the best place to start when we think we might need something. So that's number 2. Number 3 is I am going to be more intentional with how I consume alcohol. And I would almost say that this is a continuation of what I've been doing in 2024. In 2024, I started a fitness and health journey because I wanted to feel and look the best that I had by the time I turned 40. And I turned 40 in November. And I can honestly say that I definitely have felt the best that I ever have in that time frame. So I accomplished that. But then, for some reason, the holidays come around and it's like, all right, in January, I'll get back on the wagon again and all will be well. I'll do my fasting. I'll do carnivore, dry January, all the things. And then, during the holidays, and I don't really drink during the week. I haven't for a while now. However, I started getting a couple more days in there where I had consumed alcohol. And I definitely noticed that I feel more sluggish. I don't sleep as well. I feel a little foggier in my head and my brain. And it becomes more apparent when you separate yourself from it. And I think that I really like how I feel when I separate myself from alcohol. So I intend to be more intentional about how and where I consume it. If I'm at an event that I think, like, going out to eat for me is an event. I love pairing food with wines and things like that. I will consume there. And it's also about how much. you consume too. Do I really need 2 glasses to feel good about this wine and dinner pairing that I'm having? Or can I just get away with one? And, making those choices and thinking about it more often is, I think, really helpful too, and will help determine how you look at alcohol. I understand that there can be some benefits to red wine and things like that, but I don't see enough benefits to continue down the path that I have been going down. So I'll probably end up consuming a lot less of it, and that's totally fine by me. So that is number 3. Number 4, I'm definitely focusing on strength and protein intake. As we're talking about health and fitness, I did make protein a priority in 2024. I intend to make it more of a priority. For anybody that's listened to the podcast before, you might have heard me mention that I have done the carnivore diet twice now. And I think I did it for about 5 days, one time, and 7 days another time. I am a big fan of carnivore. I think my body responds best to it. And I can tell you, over the years, I've been everything from vegetarian, vegan, pescatarian, what else ever, gluten-free, dairy-free. I've been all the things free, right? And my body has never responded so well to something than it has to carnivore. And what I mean by that is inflammation has gone down. And with that comes a little bit of a drop in weight. However, I don't feel weak. I don't feel deprived. And my body just needs animal protein, I guess. It's just the way it is. And I know that that's not going to be for everyone. However, if it's something that you've never tried and you think it could work for you, I definitely do recommend it. So if you want to know more about carnivore and more protein, let me know, because I can kind of give you some insight. I don't know if I would feel comfortable giving you tips because, everybody's different, but I can definitely give you some helpful insights and what I've done in the past that has helped me. So focusing on strength kind of goes hand in hand with that, because your body, your muscles need protein to be able to get stronger and build muscle. And my goal is to build more of that muscle and change my body composition to hold more muscle than it does fat. And I started that last year in 2024, and I'm gonna keep it going this year. Maybe be a little more strict about it at times, so I can truly get to where I want to be. And I don't know exactly where that is right now. However, I think I have a good idea of how I want to feel. So I'm using that as my guide right now. I'll get a clearer picture of what that looks like probably once I get towards the summer and swimsuit season rolls around. But, it's not easy at this age anymore. Not 19, and adjustments have to be made. So there's that tip, or I would say item number 5 that I'm focusing on this year is spending more time disconnecting. I feel like I say this every year, and I think that I will truly be successful in this time because of the other goals that have come in front of it. So, the hour before I wake up, the hour before I go to sleep and the hour after I wake up, if I spend that time away from my phone, I'm already achieving the goal of disconnecting more often. So I think, focusing more on my strength training and things like that will also help me disconnect a little bit more. I have definitely noticed since I've been doing what I'm doing now, I spend so much time in front of a screen, and my eyes can feel it, my head can feel it. Typically, when I listen to my body, it knows and it tells me when I need to stop. And I want to get ahead of that. I don't want my body to have to say enough is enough. I want to be able to keep it going as I need it to, and truly focus on disconnecting when I am away from the computer and the phone. So, that means that if we go on trips and we decide that we want to vlog a place that we're at, that means setting aside 1 or 2 days for vlogging, and then the rest of the time, 0 camera, 0 computers. So boundaries are a big part of that. I'm very well aware, and I do intend to get better with that this year. So if you contact me an hour before I go to bed or within the hour after I wake up, you're not going to get a response. I'm telling you this so that you can hold me accountable too. And we all have to do that, right? We all have goals, resolutions, whatever you want to call them, and we have to hold each other accountable for them. So those are the 5 ways that I am leveling up this year in 2025. I really want to know, how are you planning to level up in 2025? So leave a comment if you're watching on YouTube. Email me. All of my contact information is in the show notes, in the description. Hit me up on social media. Let me know how you're planning to level up in 2025 so that we can keep each other accountable. So again, I want to remind you that I will be in New York this weekend, Saturday, January 18th from noon to 3 p.m. at the White Room. I think I neglected to say that, excuse me, when I was advertising earlier, in Mamaroneck, New York, all about podcasting. So if you have a podcast or you want to, this is an event you should attend. It is free. You just need to register. So find that link in the show notes. And other than that, I hope you guys have been having a great start to your year. I wish you all the best. And as always, I will catch you on the next one.
To learn more about how to tell your story, connect with Nell at enTICEingmedia.com. That's enTICEingmedia.com. Thanks for listening to the What the Nell podcast.